I'm super excited to be sitting here with you guys. First question, why? It has to be asked.
Yeah, it always gets asked.
I'm
It's
sure it
been
does.
years of asking. I'll say it one more time. I'm sure it's out there. Initially, what it came down to was we were trying to think of a band name, and I was watching a Much Music documentary on John Lennon, and they showed this crowd of people all kind of mourning the day after he died, and there was just one guy in the crowd holding this big white cardboard sign, and it just said "Why" on it. And I went, "Yeah, that's the big question. We ask it every time." When it comes to things in life, as a child, you ask those questions. You're constantly asking the why questions. And I find the why questions are always the ones that seem to not always have answers, but sometimes they're just big questions that are nice to ask because it makes you start kind of digging a little deeper into yourself and into life. And so, yeah, that's the big question I think we all ask is why.
Remember when Much Music did documentaries?
Yeah, now it's all just sort of reality TV.
Right?
Yeah.
There's not so much music on it anymore.
No, there isn't. That's what YouTube's for now, I guess. So I watch videos there.
Now, with you guys putting together not only your new single that we'll talk about in a little bit, but a full album, you're doing it a little bit differently than, say, the average band. And I like what you're doing, and I don't understand why others aren't. You're basically asking your fans for support to do the recording.
I think other bands have done it. They just do it better. I guess we have funded it by now. We've done it. We released. I think we're going to be releasing the 4th single. And ideally, yeah, we've got I think 10 songs. We've narrowed it down to out of the multitude of songs. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of bands do it. I think it's just we're kind of doing it piece by piece, and then we get these little influxes of interest, and then we'll get another song together. And we've had a few kind of awkward, really nice things work out with money with our producer, and he's in our corner, so he's just trying to cut corners for us. And
the right kind of corners, not the bad corners.
No, exactly. Yes. So, yeah, we're recording with tinsel and no wiring, and it's a tin can with a string.
But you're making it work.
And it's so lo-fi you can't even hear it. Yeah, I don't know. We've done it before, just piece by piece, just paying it for ourselves. This time around, we're just so tight, and it's getting expensive to record. I've said this before. We make expensive art that people steal. So it's kind of hard to record something and then know people are going to steal it. And we have a lot of fans who said, "We've got all your music," and I'm thinking it doesn't show on iTunes. But,
yeah,
but
it's not in my pocket.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, what's the biggest difference, do you think? Because I know you guys have been doing it for years. From when you first started as a band to now, what is the biggest change that you've seen?
Dave's hair. He goes full Aquaman, then he goes back to this, then he goes, I don't know. There was the Calvin and Hobbes vibe there for a while. And he's just, he's the best hair in rock and roll. And it keeps. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, it's good. It's a good look. Yeah.
With technology, is it getting easier or harder?
To record? I think so.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you can either rent a $10,000 drum kit or go in and do stuff with electronics, an electronic kit, and then make it sound the way you want it to sound. I can pick any artist and say, I like his drum kit, and that's the drum kit I'm playing.
But I mean, you are playing. You're still still playing. Yes. It's just triggers. Most studios now use triggers on drums anyway, and just don't tell the drummer. So the drummer thinks, "Hey man, you just make my drums," and they just put all these triggers all over the drums and fiddle with it.
Yeah. So you're not worried about the quality of the instrument you're playing in front of you because you know that the end product is going to be top notch.
The performance has to be there. That's the thing. It has to be a good performance.
Which is why he plays one hand on the drums and one on the keyboards, right?
Yes, exactly. No, actually, it's I think when we first went in, Steve Green at Green X Studios, he likes using this electronic kit, and I know you were not comfortable because you're a real drums guy. He's like, I don't think so. And then he just said, look, just if the performance is there, it'll be fine. Just play the way you play, and he got used to it. And, I mean, still, we enjoy getting in the room and banging out songs as a band with real instruments, and that's where we're going next, preparing for some shows. And we're actually in the midst of trying to arrange for another video shoot, which are always fun to go over a song for 8 hours straight. And
sounds thrilling.
And pretend to play it, yeah.
Yeah. And play it for the first time, every time.
Yes, it's called method acting.
You guys have been through a lot as a band. You've been through a ton of different experiences. What I love, though, is your involvement with charity. You guys are always giving back in some way. What made you decide to go ahead and do that?
Oh boy, we're not really. You know what? It's just I think there were opportunities with the One campaign and opportunities with World Vision and organizations like that. I don't think. Ideally, we just want to write great songs. We want to write songs that connect with people. But sometimes those songs lend themselves well to helping with some issues. I mean, things like extreme poverty and stuff that I think everyone can agree on. There's a lot of political divide right now, but I think unless you're just a heartless bastard, you don't want to see children starving to death or dying from a basic childhood illness or an infection. So I think that's something we kind of came up and said, okay, yes, extreme poverty is something we took a stand on. But I think anyone could do that. We're not really. I know people say, well, you guys have a message. Well, yeah, we have I guess so. We write songs.
Well, everyone has a message.
Yeah,
Right? Every person writes from like here, and that comes out in the music.
Yeah.
But we're not the charity band.
No, trust me, we've done enough things for free. So.
But I think the difference too with you guys is that you do follow what's in here. You're not necessarily always looking for that next hit. You're still going to put out what you're feeling.
We don't want no hits. No.
The need for the hit might be there, but you're staying true to yourselves while you're doing it.
Yeah, I think we don't have a problem with the hit. I think it's as long as we get the hit the right way. I think as long as it comes organically and naturally.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jeremy when it comes to songwriting, I find he just seems to find these amazing hooks. And some of them are just in warm-ups. We're in a session just warming up, we're writing. I go, hey, what's that? He goes, oh, I'm just warming up. I said, no, that's a song. And that's what happens. He's like, I remember that one time we sat down, we wrote 3 songs in an evening because I'm just warming up things for songs. And
or you bought a new pedal and you're like, hey, look at this.
Look what I can do with this.
That's a
song. I think the biggest thing too when it comes to music is as long as you don't get in the way. I really do believe songs are kind of just out there. And there's a few times I've heard songs that other people have released and I went, oh, why didn't I think of that? Well, because I wasn't listening. But I think music finds its way to you, and if you try not to control it, manipulate it too much, I think the songs can be something really special. The old adage, don't get in the way of the music. I think that's what we really try really hard to do, I think, right?
Now you're talking about Jeremy doing the songwriting.
Well, we all do, but...
Yeah.
It's kind of like he's the guy with the most words, but so far he's the guy with the littlest words on the couch. Why is that?
Well, I write lyrics. He writes guitar parts,
Okay.
but he's got all the notes. Yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. What is that, Jeremy? Is it just you do all your talking with the guitar?
Yeah.
Amazing. Hey, if it comes across and you get your point there, that's all that matters, right?
You should have more words. Why can't you write more lyrics? Come on.
That's not my forte.
It is though. It probably is. He's just not telling us. Yeah, I don't know. These guys. I think it's really cool when we get together and things happen. Sometimes it happens as a group. We're just jamming. Other times it's Jeremy has something or Dave has a drum idea. We've had songs where it was this really weird drum idea, and then the song kind of wrapped itself around that. So I think there's no real set way of writing.
Mm-hmm.
But I've come to the table with a lyric idea, like just a verse and a chorus, and then as we're going on, and then end up abandoning that because what you came up with made the song different. Or a song that I thought was a ballad. Suddenly Dave decided that it wasn't a ballad.
It could switch directions completely just because of maybe what we were talking about that evening.
Yeah.
And it just we just went in a completely different direction, and all of a sudden a song came out of that. So.
Have you guys ever had any huge arguments?
No, actually, that's kind of scary. I mean, Dave threw me in front of a bus once, but that was
nothing.
That was just to see what would happen. It's science. It's science, kids.
Brian, come here.
What?
There's a big thing about that right now. Only it's to do with Sesame Street, not band members.
Pushing what? Muppets in front of buses?
Yeah.
What?
The whole Bert and Ernie thing.
Pushing him in front of a bus?
Yeah, they didn't push him, but he forgot to look both ways, and that's how He was killed off.
Isn't that what happened to Charlie Sheen or something?
No, he's still with us.
I think he was something to do with the closet, wasn't he?
I don't know. I have no idea. Which I don't even. I let Charlie Sheen be Charlie Sheen.
And on that note, let's get back to your new single, God Particle. Can you tell me about that?
Actually, that started with a riff you came up with. And then Dave came in with the drums.
Was it?
I had no idea what the drums were going to be. Dave walked in, I have a drum idea, and he just laid it down. And we were like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I did. I guess I did come up with that riff. I don't even know where it came from. Just started
It
playing.
just happens.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to record it because
Let's record
if
this.
you don't record,
Right away.
record everything. I think when we're in the writing
Yeah.
session, I try to record everything because if we don't, it disappears.
So you get this idea, you just start playing, it happens, you're recording it. When you hear it back, you just know what notes those are and you can do it all over again? Or do you switch it up?
That's a...
I think it gets refined along the way, but
Yeah.
because the recording is really just a way to kind of remember,
Yeah, because I'll
to
start...
kind of
the basic
trigger
idea
the
of it.
memory of what it was and the
Yeah.
idea of it, more so than the actual, this note and this note and this note.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I mean, there's a mathematics to it, but I think it's more organic. And I'll come up with a lyric idea or a vocal. And sometimes it won't even be a finished idea. It won't even be fully words either. Sometimes it's just noises. But I'll go back and transcribe what I sang and I go, wow, that's actually a good lyric. If you're in the moment, something happens. It's sort of the same way actors improv something. Sometimes you're in the moment and sometimes it doesn't work and there's nothing there and you have to come back and revisit it. And other times, you're stunned how much happens in the improvisation moment that you go, wow, we're keeping that. I can't believe we got that far. And I think it's trying to kind of do stuff in a way that hasn't been done. Things that excite us, but you get to a point where you go, gee, that sounds really familiar, and I hope to God it isn't.
Someone
But
else's song.
yeah, exactly. The thing is, if you listen to it later, if you go away and it's still stuck in your head, I think then we probably pursue it further. If it's something we forget, we've forgotten about it. But record everything because you just don't know what will be a song and what will be a nothing. So, yeah.
And how do you decide from the songs that do come about which one you're going to release next?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. The big thing was just trying to narrow down what songs would be in this 10 or 11 songs. And it's funny because these songs seem to all be connected. I mean, Repair the Breach really is just talking about this division in humanity. And at the time we wrote it, the world wasn't as divided as it is now. And we really like the idea of people coming together. And then we followed up with a comeback, which is this idea of what happens when you don't repair that breach. And how can you still come back from that? And it's still that sense of hope. And we're kind of listening, there's a sense of hope through the whole process, even lyrically and musically. And then we wrote Can't Stand Your Kids, which was sort of an open letter to God. It was just kind of this indictment of, you know what, I really can't stand humanity, but I'm going to have to learn to because I am part of that family. But it was kind of this kind of open letter to just kind of like, let's go. I can't stand your kids. I can't stand some of these crazy religious people, and yet I still am kind of in that camp of believing. So I guess I have to learn. I am one of your kids, so I have to accept that. And then God Particle is really based on the idea of the Hadron Collider and the boson-Higgs particle being discovered in CERN and all that physics that I kind of understand. I think I've got a good handle on it, but the song was just about this idea of we all kind of need that little bit of the divine in us and find that and we find the good in people and not write each other off so quickly. It's very easy to fall into tribalism, but I think this album seems to be leading into this idea of we're better together, different but together. And that's where the title, the album's going to be called Despite All of the Darkness, and it's actually from a quote from Desmond Tutu where he said, "Hope is seeing light despite all of the darkness." And I just thought it's a great idea. And lately we've seen a lot of darkness in the world, so it's nice to see a little bit of light. So that's what we're hoping this album will do.
And honestly, your music really does that. I mean, even the latest single, I was lucky enough to hear it.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
She hacked us. Russian.
I promise I'll pay for it. But you sit there, and the least you can do is start tapping your foot to it. It gives you that bit of hope, that bit of light.
Cool.
It just makes you want to get up and dance, and that's awesome. How much rock music just
That
makes
in
you wanna do
particular,
it.
yeah, that song in particular, I think when we were doing it, we were kind of going, man, at times, and I was saying this to Steve, our producer at Green Egg Studios, I said, gee, this almost has kind of an old school INXS feel to it, that kind of, it's rock, but you could almost dance to it, which is different for us. We've never really gone that groove-driven before, so we need to look into that. We've had a few remixes done, but that was done by people like Abstract Art Form and Fresh IE who actually do that for a living. And also I think that also comes down to these guys too. I mean, they're getting into that place that we're all kind of pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone, I think, too, right? We're not. Sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable on this weird couch. I feel like I'm on a beanbag. It's that kind of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Because I think that's where the best art happens, when you're not comfortable. But also being honest. So being honest and uncomfortable at the same time.
Which kind of goes hand in hand.
Yes, it does. Honesty is uncomfortable. And this couch is uncomfortable as well.
It's an honest couch.
It's an honest couch.
So October 16th, the single comes out.
Yep.
Where can people hear it?
Geez,
Do you know?
I don't know. No, I know that I know the distributor officially today approved, so it's going through, I guess, to iTunes and Spotify and all those places, and we're getting a video together as well, and yeah, anywhere you can get music, I guess. So.
But not for free. Pay for it.
Yeah, but then again, people go on Spotify, so. But I think it's come to the shows, and then that'll help us out. So.
Do you have any show dates in place right now?
No, we are working on that right now. We're kind of torn between, okay, should we go in and record the next single? Should we start putting some shows together? Or should we shoot the video? And we said yes. So,
Cool.
how that's gonna play out, I don't know.
So if anybody wants to help you guys out and help you make that next single, help you with the rest of the album, how do they do it? What's the GoFundMe page?
It's on all our social media. You can go to whytheband.com and you can probably find a link there, or go to our Facebook page. It's just facebook.com/whytheband, or on our Instagram as well. It's on there. There's a link on there. So.
Cool. And I have one more question for you.
Mm.
You know what it is. It is about your socks.
They're just great.
Really?
Yeah, that's boring.
Come on,
Here you
Ryan.
go. Yeah, she's a sock aficionado. This is it. Look at this is it.
I
Just
expected better from
lay
you.
it. It's black. I spill coffee a lot. You can't see anything.
You were wearing color the other day and bragging about it, so I
Yeah,
thought
it was a blue.
maybe-
It was a denim shirt.
I thought
Brian,
maybe
color?
it was
Yeah, I
hidden
know.
in your boots.
Yeah, it was a moment of truth there. I hadn't done laundry.
All the black socks were gone.
I was wearing them as a shirt.
Sewn them together.
Yes, exactly.
All right, fair enough. How about you?
Oh, do your
Yeah.
exclusive
My
socks?
socks?
Yeah, are they crazy? Are they crazy?
They're boring.
They're
Oh!
awesome. All right, you
Dave,
got- you
anything
gotta save us,
Superman
Dave.
related? Because Dave's a big Superman fan.
Oh,
Oh, dude!
Great.
guys.
All the joys
So-
in the music.
I was contemplating actually wearing some gray and purple polka dotted ones.
That would have been fantastic.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Next
All
time.
right.
Next time.
Definitely.
But
next
he's
time.
got a lot of superhero stuff, so.
Really?
Yeah.
You know Batman's the best.
Well, that's an argument. I like Batman. He's a Superman guy.
Superman can be killed with kryptonite. End of story.
And Batman can be killed with everything else.
But Batman can buy the kryptonite.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I like them both. And Henry Cavill needs a movie. Can we get that happening, please? Man of Steel 2.
Thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.